I've messed up at work, and been dumped by my girlfriend. And now, I'm about to be late for a business meeting. My name is John Stevens. Currently, despite having an important meeting, I overslept, and to make matters worse, got caught in a train delay due to an accident. I was desperately rushing to catch the next train. It's still possible. I can still make it. I muttered as I weaved through the crowd. Of course, I wouldn't do something as barbaric as pushing people aside, but I might have been a bit too focused on my own haste. Suddenly, a woman appeared right in front of me. Whoa! It all happened so fast that I couldn't avoid her, and we collided. We both fell down, causing me to drop my bag and scatter its contents. I barely noticed that the woman had been coming at a fast pace and was using phone. When I looked at her, I saw her heel had rolled away on the floor. It looked expensive, suggesting she was well off. I couldn't just leave her there. So, I offered my hand, saying, "Are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere?" That's when it happened. She slapped my hand away with a swift, sharp motion.
Ouch! Watch where you're walking, slowpoke. What if you had broken my bone?
I was taken aback by her sudden outburst. She slowly got up while rubbing her bottom where she had landed. In the process, she picked up my employee ID card that had fallen out of my bag. After giving it a cold look, she smiled at me aggressively.
It's horrible. Remember this,
she said, and then she walked away. I admit I was at fault, but I think she was at fault as well, walking with her phone without paying attention to her surroundings. I was momentarily upset, but then I quickly checked the time and was shocked. The train had long since left. In the end, I was a few minutes late to the meeting and got a warning from the client. And of course, a good scolding from my boss.
You're on thin ice,
he said, making me alert, but my streak of bad luck didn't end there. Later, I was called by the CEO, an unusual event that had our department buzzing.
Did you do something wrong?
My colleagues asked, probably referring to my tardiness. Sweating bullets, I knocked on the CEO's office door. "Excuse me," I said, and he invited me in, saying,
"Come in."
As I entered, I saw him with a stern face. Surprisingly, there was the woman from yesterday. I couldn't help but point at her. She gave me the same mocking smile as before and said in a sweet, taunting tone,
I remembered your name from the employee ID.
The CEO looked at me and slowly began to speak.
"Her name is Natalie. She's my only daughter."
My legs trembled at that shocking revelation.
"John, I heard from my daughter about the collision at the station the other day."
I could feel the blood draining from my entire body. In contrast, Natalie, now known to be the CEO's daughter, had a triumphant look on her face. To think I had collided with the daughter of our CEO. And then I understood the meaning of her words, "Remember this." She must have lied to her father, claiming that I was the one who bumped into her. A pay cut, demotion, or even firing could be possible outcomes. I felt like I was walking to the guillotine. However, he then apologized, saying,
"I'm sorry my daughter has caused you trouble."
which took me by surprise.
What? Dad, why are you apologizing?
Natalie next to him started to get angry, but he calmly said,
"There's no proof that John was the one who bumped into you, and neither of you was injured. Let's consider this matter settled."
Are you saying I lied? I can't believe it. Are you even my father?
Her face turned bright red, but the next moment, the CEO shouted,
"Enough. Ever since you were a child, calling me at work to say a thief has come. Help. With your lies, how am I supposed to believe you? Besides, your tyrannical attitude has been causing resentment among the other employees."
She looked shocked at her father's words. Tears started to well up in her eyes, and covering her face with her hands, she left the office. Looking a bit tired, he sighed and said,
Perhaps I was too harsh.
I was bracing myself for retaliation from his daughter, so that was an unexpected turn. Are they on bad terms?
I'm sorry to interrupt your work. Actually, I called you here because I have a favor to ask of you, John.
Feeling apprehensive, I timidly asked what it was, and he took a deep breath before slowly starting to speak.
To get straight to the point, I want you to be her mentor.
From her behavior, it's apparent that Natalie is quite the troublemaker, to the extent that she was given a chance to learn at a partner company but ended up arguing with a customer, getting into a real fight, and almost causing a lawsuit, boldly defying her superiors about why she should be sued. She's been building a foundation of trouble. Hearing his story, my face involuntarily twitches. Therefore, she was sent back to her father's company, where I also work. However, if things stay as they are, she will likely cause problems again at this company. That's why he wants me to mentor her, to prevent any backlash from the others. But, am I really the right person for this? I think your daughter really hates me. Oh, I mean, it's an honor, of course. I attempted to indirectly decline the role of being her mentor. I absolutely did not want to get involved with such a wild child. However,
John, you're competent at your job and have a caring nature. You're also close in age to my daughter, so I think you're the right person for this,
he said, firmly gripping my shoulders. Then he turned his back to me and gazed out the window.
I've been too busy with work to spend time with her. It's partly my fault she turned out this way, but now, I'm powerless to do anything about it.
He sighed as he looked down from the view of the top floor, a sight that seemed to symbolize the difficulty of balancing being a CEO and a father. In the end, unable to refuse, I reluctantly agreed to take on the role of Natalie's mentor. Thus, my tenure began as the mentor to Natalie. Here's the material, so please take care of this, I said as I handed her some work, but she glared at me fiercely.
Why should I follow your orders? And I don't want to do menial work like this,
she said, turning away from me. I was speechless at her brazen disregard for authority. Since then, she continued to oppose me in everything. I started to feel a bit disillusioned with her attitude. The department heads and vice presidents were clearly frustrated dealing with the CEO's daughter, Natalie. Nobody was in a position to scold her, possibly because of her status. As a result, her behavior became increasingly arrogant, as if she was emboldened by the lack of discipline. Her bad reputation quickly spread throughout the department.
Seriously, what's with her? We really don't need that kind of attitude here.
I don't care if she's the CEO's daughter or whatever. She's just creating a bad vibe.
Especially from the female employees, the backlash was strong, and I could hear their complaints. Worse still, our department's veteran Mia was caught talking behind Natalie's back, which she happened to overhear. She was so furious she almost attacked Mia, leading to a fierce argument that required me to intervene. It was a struggle to calm down an infuriated Natalie and an equally enraged Mia, steaming with anger. Following that, Natalie was ostracized by everyone in the department. It couldn't be helped. Given that I was appointed as her mentor by the CEO, I found it troublesome but necessary to have a frank discussion with Natalie, so I called her to the meeting room.
What? Calling me to a place like this? I'm busy, you know.
Having been idling away just moments ago, she defiantly crossed her arms and retorted, Natalie, listen. If things continue this way, you might even get fired from this company. When I said that, she glared at me with a displeased face and snapped.
What? Are you saying I'm not needed in this company? Don't joke with me. It's because everyone around me is incompetent, including you.
Her accusatory finger, pointed as if she had forgotten all manners, irked me. Enough. I was surprised by the volume of my own voice. And so was she, looking even more shocked than I felt. But I didn't stop there.
Why can't you be more cooperative? Blaming others without introspection, looking down on them, it's no wonder everyone is avoiding you. This is a company, not a club or a hobby group. We're all working together to generate profit, and you have no right to call anyone incompetent.
It seemed I had been bottling up a lot of stress. After saying all I wanted to, I oddly felt relieved. Now, to see how she would react. As I braced myself for a response from her, a tear trickled down her face, and she burst into tears like a child. I had been made to cry by women but had never made a woman cry, so I was flustered. "I'm sorry, I went too far." I tried to apologize and calm her down, but her tears didn't stop.
Honestly, I just don't know what to do anymore. I've always clashed with people.
She began to share her past while sobbing and leaning over the desk. Being a CEO's daughter, one might imagine a glamorous life. She had indeed lived a life far removed from the average person. However, she also faced struggles unique to her high-status background. From a young age, she was educated to live up to the image of a respectable daughter of a prominent businessman. No watching cartoons, nearly daily lessons, a childhood under strict control. As a result, she hardly had any friends to call her own, with her only companions being her tutors and her mother. However, her mother divorced when Natalie was about to enter middle school, leading her to become increasingly introverted. Thanks to her lessons, she was academically excellent and athletically gifted, but her social skills deteriorated in equal measure. She went to a prestigious university but failed to make any real friends. That was a source of pain for her. She wanted to do well at the company, but she always ended up arguing.
Having been restrained by the CEO's daughter label, I guess I became aggressive once that leash was off. I don't know how to control it.
After sharing her story, she seemed to calm down a bit. Honestly, her story didn't resonate with me. Probably because I'm just an average person. Her family has several private jets. Just hearing her story made me realize how different our worlds are. It made me think that perhaps her unique background is the reason for her unique set of problems. With that in mind, I spoke to her.
First, stop starting with denial.
Upon hearing my words, she slowly lifted her head. I looked straight into her dejected eyes.
Like this, make eye contact with people and listen to what they have to say.
At that point, I decided to be the passionate teacher. I taught her the essence of communication. Her habit of not listening to others stemmed from a complex about not being heard herself. I believe the memories of her restrained childhood made her aggressive. So first, I made sure to listen to her stories myself. And then I showed her through practice what it means to truly receive someone's conversation. I realized I had been distancing myself from her, despite being assigned as her mentor. I thought I had to reflect on that myself. I learned from that reflection and started spending more time with Natalie. Gradually, she started to stop negating others and began to listen more intently to what people had to say. As a result, conflicts with others visibly decreased.
John, excuse me, can I get your time a bit now? How should I handle this?
At some point, she even started changing her attitude with me, and her approachability improved compared to before.
Here's what you do.
I see, thank you very much. I'll note to self.
Muttering to herself, she took diligent notes of my advice. Though I told her to listen to others, I never expected her to become such a note-taking fiend. I was increasingly pleased with her growth. Then, a significant turning point arrived for her. It was during a presentation planning meeting.
Oh my goodness! This is too bad! What should I do now?
Mia, who had previously been at odds with Natalie, shouted that while looking troubled. When I asked about the situation, I was told that some of the business partner documents had been lost.
That's bad. Those documents had the client's requests, right? Without them, we can't proceed with the plan.
As I said that, she looked downcast.
How should I deal with? I have a rough idea of their requests, though.
Asking the client to explain their requirements again because we lost the memo would be unthinkable. It would jeopardize our chances even before presenting, as it would be an inconvenience to them. But making a plan based on guesswork was not an option either. While everyone was brainstorming what to do, Natalie quietly voiced,
I have notes from that meeting.
Everyone was astonished by her words. I remembered she had also attended that meeting. Then, she smiled at me and said,
You told me to listen carefully to people. Right, John?
As she spread her notebook on the desk. Mia looked at the notes and exclaimed,
Yes. This is it. Everything is exactly as written here.
She gratefully thanked Natalie.
Natalie, thank you so much. Really, I appreciate it.
Having been thanked by someone she had previously clashed with, Natalie seemed unsure how to react.
Oh yes. You're welcome.
Furthermore, the other employees also praised Natalie's crucial contribution.
I really have a newfound respect for you, Natalie.
You've become important to our department now.
Overwhelmed by the unexpected reaction, her face turned bright red, and she looked at me, pleading with her eyes.
What should I do?
I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Not used to being praised, her bewildered reaction was amusing to watch. Following that, we built the presentation content based on Natalie's notes. As a result, we received high praise from the client during the presentation, saying, "This is excellent," and we successfully secured the contract. To celebrate our success, a celebration was held for all employees.
Wow, you really are a chip off the old block, Natalie. Such a great daughter. This time, it was all thanks to you.
The department head tried to flatter Natalie by making a toast, but she looked slightly displeased. It seemed like she was being credited for her success because of her lineage, not her own achievements. I quickly intervened, saying to the department head,
Natalie helped the company with her own skills, so it's not right to box her into the CEO's daughter category.
Trying to correct him without causing offense. Then, he laughed it off, saying,
Yeah, you're right.
Now, Natalie is surrounded by many colleagues. Though she has never had deep relationships with people before, she looks a bit bewildered in a crowd but is smiling happily at its center. She really has changed. Watching her smile, I thought to myself. As the party neared its end, with cheeks slightly flushed, Natalie sat down next to me.
You've had quite a bit to drink, haven't you?
To which she cheerily replied.
Not at all.
Completely drunk, she continued to talk to me in a lively tone.
I'm being relied on by everyone now. Isn't that amazing? Don't you think so?
Okay, sure.
I smiled wryly at her who bragged like a child.
Joining this company really changed my life. I never thought I could have this much fun. Conversation is really important, isn't it?
Looking at her half-finished glass, she spoke with deep emotion.
It's all your own doing. You've really grown.
I smiled at her. She then shook her head slowly, placing her glass down gently, touched my shoulder and whispered in my ear.
It's all thanks to you. Thank you.
Her sweet breath sent shivers down my spine. I let out a weird noise.
Whoa.
And covered my ear. Enjoying my reaction, she chuckled and teased me with a smile. Years later, Natalie is now thriving in the company to the extent that it is hard to call me her mentor anymore. She is naturally talented. She quickly surpassed me, and rumors were that she might be appointed to the youngest executive position without any favoritism from the CEO. However, her respect for me remained unchanged.
John, can I ask for your advice?
She always relied on me, and I found our moments of conversation enjoyable. Recently, I recalled something the CEO said to me.
I approve
Excuse me.
of you marrying my daughter. I think you and Natalie could build a wonderful home together. I was right to appoint you as her mentor.
He said, laughing jovially. It seemed I had already received the overeager father's blessing. Whether I could date Natalie was another story, maybe.